Welcome everyone on Euro Eve is what we're calling it. It's an exciting day, Euro Eve, because we always know when the English invade Germany, a good time is had by all. So we're looking forward to that. We're here for a special show, though, about best 23. It's probably the hardest thing to do, as usual. I'm joined by my regular co-host, the man that supports Liverpool, who will also be cheering on the Poms to glory, seeing we're led in the midfield by illustrious Trent Alexander-Arnold. Mr. Ian from the Navy Blue Corner, how are you diddling?
Yeah, doing very well, Pommy. Very excited to do this exercise. It was funny when trying to go through it. You know, you forget guys like Doherty and Jack Silvani are out injured because we're performing so well currently in it. Yeah, it's going to be very tough for us to try and nail the 23. There's going to be a few stiff omissions, but it's going to be fun to chat about it all.
Well, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. I looked at the list, and you do forget there is some good players who aren't here. So, talking about people who aren't here, Paul is here. So the longer he's late, just remember his intro gets less special, more of a pot shot. But making his debut on team selection, good friend of mine, good friend of the channel. You all know him very well. He is the Patrick Cripps to a Ragtag podcast. Mr. Joe Adamo from the Almost Blues Brothers. How are you diddling?
Thank you, mate. I don't know about the Patrick Cripps of that podcast. I actually do a lot of the grunt work, so it makes sense. But the other two boys, I wouldn't be too happy to hear that. But no, it's good to be here. I think I've been on once. I think I've been on a team show. Oh, maybe that was the Blue Abroad team show.
It was the Blue Abroad one.
Yeah, there you go. So selection table. Good to be here.
I could be wrong though. It's been known.
No. I reckon you're right.
From memory, it is. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll copy it. And joining me on Euro Eve, a man that I'm sure will join Joe in supporting the blue side of the Euros. But Mr. Paul Sebastiani, how are you doing, mate?
I'm very well. Good evening, gentlemen. Yeah, I don't really know how much of a chance Italy has at the Euros, but we'll be there giving them our full support. But no, it's been a busy week. How are you all doing?
Good, man.
I'll tell you, I'm half behind the Poms. My missus is living in London at the moment, so I've got half a connection there. And I've been to London a few times. I'm going back a few times this year, so I wouldn't mind seeing the Brits get up. But also, I've got them in a multi, so it'd be nice.
Okay, right, yes. No greater interest than self-interest. I will say I do have a bit of the. There's been a bit of British nostalgia that's been bestowed upon me over the last 24 hours. I actually watched The Darkest Hour last night. Great movie based on Winston Churchill's build-up to England's involvement in World War II, which I know gets Pommy very, very excited. If it's not this show, if it's not team selection, if it's not the rating show on Blue Abroad, it's definitely a bit of Winston Churchill that gets Pommy fired up.
Yeah, I don't mention the war very often. I've only done it 3 times in this show. So I'm a bit below par from my usual standard.
That's not very good, mate. That's poor from you.
That does remind me, though, for the Euros, shout out my little boys, but they bought me this for the Euros.
Oh, Captain England.
Very good.
Right. Rightio.
Dad has to get out the screwdriver to put it up there somewhere, so we're going to be finding a place for that. But that will be behind me. But we are here, as much as I'd love to just talk about the Euros, because to be honest, that's all I care about for the next 2 weeks. We have to do the Cowan team. So everyone at home, you're part of this. So usually we'll bore the crap out of you for 20 minutes talking about our teams. But I figured what we'd do, because it is a hard task, is the rule is we've got to unanimously agree on each position. So I had a look at this and I thought probably 15 players are locks in everyone's team. And then we're haggling over, 4 probably to be the starting 18. So I thought it'd be a fun exercise. Like, we've got the whole list. We have got a wild card round as well after we do the 22. So chat, you also get to be a list manager as well in this. Not just this a list manager. So we're going to have two things at the end. One's a surprise for our guest, but that is going to be the game of Keep D list, because we've obviously got a few of these out of contract, but there's also going to be a special incoming, which you get to vote on. So I suppose, right, we'll start with the back line. So I'll start with you, Ian. In the back line, who is like your number one pick? And chat, get your answers in for the back line. If everyone is fit and firing, who is the first name in the back line, do you think, that we'd say?
It's got to be the man that was so much snubbed in the mid-season talk about All-Australian that they had to come out and talk about it in the media again to say, oh, no, we talked about Whittaker. He's in there. It's obviously Jacob Whittaker. Yep.
Joe, would you agree with that?
Yep, on board.
Paul?
Yes, wholeheartedly agree.
I was hoping you're going to be like a total dickhead. It'd be like, nah. There's a few names, though, chat. I mean, you're all saying Whittaker, but, I mean, everyone goes on about Marchbank. The disrespect. All right.
Look, Young was going to be in there.
You know what? If we've done it the old way, and people are asking, Paul, you're asking where Lapdog is. Lapdog is going to England in the next couple of days. And evidently that takes 4 days to sort out. When I've told him, just bring your wallet.
That is absolute rubbish. That is rubbish.
Yeah, I said the same. How hard is it? Just get on a plane, mate. Get your send down a pub.
Yeah, no, that's weak.
You know what? Interesting side story about Lapdog. I actually spoke to him 2 days ago, and he rang me, and I was all excited to speak to Lapdog because he's one of my best mates. And he literally rang me in Office Works to ask to look at reviews of headsets because he wants to buy some between the price of $0 and $100. And I was literally on the phone like some schmuck Google reviewing 4 different headsets. Couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Things I do.
From $0 to $100, you take your pick, really. I don't think you really find it too much.
I was like, you're wanting to spend $50. Just whatever's the cheapest. But there we have. So Whittaker saved. You've all saved him, right? So you're all coming in. Welcome. So we'll start reverse order. Paul, who else takes your fancy?
Adam Sard, halfback flank.
Joe?
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yep. I'm with it.
Would Sard be second on your list? Mr. Ian?
Yes, very much agree with that one.
Some Sard love in chat. Mr. Zonk Steele straight in Sard. Lou Foligno Sard. I agree. I think Sard is definitely. I mean, what's the start? 9 wins, 1 loss, isn't it, with Sard?
Ridiculously good.
7 wins, 1 loss.
There you go.
It's something ridiculous. It is something ridiculous. But Mr. Joe, who would be the next guy? So, I mean, we're starting to... this is probably the biggest depth position, isn't it? Backline.
It is. But you'd be hard-pressed to go past Nick Newman, I reckon.
Yep, good call.
Yeah, perfect.
Chat's all saying Newman as well. I love it. Do you reckon Nick Newman, just quietly, most underrated signing? You know, when people talk about shrewd buys, do you think Nick Newman would be in like easily the top 10 of recruits for teams in the last 20 years?
Yeah, based off output and what we dished up for him. What did we pay for him? Was he a rookie or was he a third rounder?
Something like pick 55.
Yeah, definitely a late pick. It's one of the most underrated players in the AFL. Like, no one ever talks about him, yet literally, has he ever had a bad game? Every single game is at least a 7, 8 out of 10. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. He's just solid.
And he's an elite user by foot. I know he was a rookie pick for Sydney. I'm just trying to look at what his pick was here for us.
No, we got him for like a 4th round or a 3rd round.
2019 is when he ventured over to the club. The end of the 2018 season. Okay, interesting.
Could have been Aaron Mullet, you know, in another lifetime.
Jesus. God help us.
Don't disrespect Aaron Mullet.
We've moved on from those days.
Nah, honestly, it's my aim my aim with this channel is one day to get the great.
Do you know he's won 3 Best Clubman Awards? I'm just looking at his honour roll. 2020, 2022, and 23.
Yeah, he's the ultimate clubman, is he not?
There you go.
Interesting story about Nick Newman as well. It's one of Sauce's dodgy deals because they were going to delist him, and they had an agreement that they wouldn't delist him and Carlton would swoop in, so we didn't have to piss about with mid-season, pre-season drafts and stuff. So a Sauce dodgy deal for a 4th, I got it. Do you know what
Absolutely
I mean?
wild that Sydney would delist a player like that. That's nuts to me. That's
Well,
crazy.
they got rid of George Hewitt for us.
Yeah, for nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, they do cheat. And spot on, Scott. It's
That's
the biggest compliment you can play a sportsman. He's boring. Like, statistically, Nick Newman sends me to sleep because every week I know what stats he's going to get. There's never a surprise. It's never better than I thought, worse than I thought.
Future 4th round, boys.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
wow.
Future probably wasn't even used.
And Blake Acres was a future 3rd round pick. Can you believe that?
And I think Mark Pitnet was a 4th as well. Just
Whatever it was.
fantastic
Crazy.
deal. Fantastic.
It's one of them deals that, though, when you do it with Sydney, that they probably take like Errol Goulding's cousin with a future 4th, and
Probably.
10 years later he becomes the best player in the AFL.
Yeah,
Don't know
they
how
could do
Sydney
that.
do it. They've got like some kind of weird
It's all right.
thing. Matt calls him
That's a great
Xanax.
call.
Jesus.
That's a great call.
Matt, you're in the right place. We love a drug reference around here. Okay, we'll go with Joe. Joe, Backman, chat, think about it. Who would be the next walk-up start?
Pretty simple. Mitch McGovern got to be 4th
Yep.
ranked there, you'd think.
Yep. Good call.
Are we playing him centre-half back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, look at that. We've killed someone.
The next 2 spots are going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Lewis Young fans in chat. Game over.
I would have put Nick Newman. I would have put Nick Newman back pocket, to be honest.
That's
Just
probably a
'cause
mistake on my part, but
Very silky ball user that's going to come out.
we can eradicate him. Chat are agreeing. Maz coming in with Mitch. Bevtone, I'd imagine Boyd will be there. Chat, are we all... Ian, Paul, are we agreeing Mitch McGovern's definitely there? I think he's a walk-up star.
Oh, absolutely.
I think he is as well. I completely agree.
I think the backline's probably the easiest out of all of them, maybe, but like the last couple at the end is, now it gets tight.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go bold here. Mine. I'm going to put this for you. What about Brodie Kemp?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, I think so.
Brodie Kemp,
Oh, yeah.
the best interceptor we've got.
Yeah, I think when you've got like obviously Wiedering and you've got McGovern as the taller of the two kind of defensive players there, you need that other. And Kempy is so far at the moment above anyone else. Like at the start of the season, it was probably a question of is it Kemp, is it Marchbank? Well, he's gone past him so far. And even now that Marchbank's fit, no one is clamoring to get him into the side. It's Kemp all the way.
Yep.
Kate, we have you. Everyone's available. So this game today, everyone is available. So we're imagining a world where Andrew Russell turns into the fitness man at Arsenal, and no one's injured. They've
Well,
all
you
had
see, we're
magical
getting a medical centre built into Icon Park.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
a good call
things
from
of-
you on
yeah.
Twitter as well.
I did chuckle at that because I was like, here we go. I can't wait for them to name Russell as the director of that establishment. Okay, well, we'll throw Kemp in. So, chat, we're going to give it up to you. So, you've got full ad hoc here, then. Full ad hoc. It's a full strength side. Now, I know all of you have said Boyd. We can get a bit imaginative. So, when we're talking about Sam Doherty, just think where you're playing him. Are we playing him midfield, forward? Because that's where he was going to be. Interesting, the forward thing. Does anyone else think that you're seeing Zach Williams play forward? Do you reckon that was the plan with Doc?
That's actually not a bad call.
Because Voss said Doc
It's a
was going to
different
be
role.
forward this year.
Yeah.
It's a different role. It's still a different role to what Doc would have played, though. He's very much small. Like he's not really. He doesn't really push up the ground like Doc would have. I think.
Yeah, I think Doc probably would have been a bit more of that high half forward that we saw like at the start of finals in particular. I reckon he started a few games there rather than the deeper small forward. But I mean, to go bold right now, is Doc even in the best team fully fit? Because do we know what Doc we're getting back? Like, I know in our minds Doherty full strength is, but after another ACL, are we gonna get that?
The good old best 22. The old best 23 and the best 22.
It is a really good question though, because like obviously we just don't know what Doc was. I agree. I think he might have played high up, but then like I agree here with Lou. Is it Chincotta's role? Is that the role that they were earmarking? Defensive.
I still say he's an All-Australian halfback. I don't know why we're tinkering with Sam Doherty up the field when he's fit. Play him where he is best suited. He has an All-Australian jumper on a halfback line. Like, it's never made sense to me why we wanted to turn him into a mid-forward or like wing. I kind of get, but when you've got a weapon like that has genuinely proven himself on a halfback line, it's never made sense why we'd even try and turn him into something that he's not. But anyway, that's my opinion. It's my 2 cents.
I agree. I think you make a great call, Joe. Like there is probably a place with the way the backline's formed for him to be the 7th rotation. Do you know what I mean? Because there is still pace there if you want to add that reliability. It's a real interesting conundrum because you actually look at the injuries we've had and the guys coming in, they've probably now become too good to be dropped. So suddenly you kind of got the guys who were best 22 almost like icing on the cake. So like Doc coming back fully fit next year, technically he's like an icing on the cake pick. Like you can get a bit excited. So looks like you've all voted Boyd, which I think is amazing, to be fair, in the terms of mid-season draft pick and suddenly halfback flanker starting.
Yep, I'm with that.
Okay, well, this is probably where everyone falls out. So we'll go chronologically down to bottom. I'll go second last because I like going second last. It's fun. Ian, mids. Who's the undroppable mid?
Oh, well, it's an easy one. It's Cripper.
Yep.
I don't think there's any arguments, is there?
Nope.
Imagine if we did a best 22 when Paul hates best 22, so we drop Cripps. Imagine the scenes. Imagine the scenes.
I don't know why I'm here, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I listen to your pod, and I know you hate best 22s, but I agree with you. I think we're probably, when you shit, I think best 22 is more obvious, isn't it? Like,
yeah, of course.
I remember doing the preview shows where we used to have to pick, where Terry and me used to have to pick 16 players plus the 18, obviously the 18, but like 16 were guaranteed. And then it was like 6 players that I didn't really fucking want in the team.
It's also bye week, so we're struggling for content. So.
No, but honest, do you remember? Just reminisce with me about 5 years ago when you used to pick your best 22, right? There was always 5 players, and it was like the best way I could describe as an analogy for the 5 players after you'd picked 17 players was basically like being told by gunpoint you had to choose 5 people at random to sleep with your wife while you watched. Like it was a bad act. There was no good answer. You didn't really want to do it.
No, I understand the dislike for a best 22, and I get the reasons, but I think it's still a fun exercise to have the discussion because we clearly know, like as we're going through now, like guys like Cripps, Wiedering, they're clearly, if fit, you're going to select them. And I like the discussion in seeing who rates who above other players and who, when you're talking about this, and it's more than just a player on a sheet. When you're selecting someone, you're selecting them for a reason, and you're saying, okay, do I want this player with this other one in the forward line because of structural reasons, or am I going pure talent? What are you going for? I love that it sort of branches out to see the kind of tier rankings you kind of have of players and maybe the positions that we're a little light on or need someone to really make it their own. I think it's not a bad little discussion starter.
It's why I like the injury list, because I actually think our list is better now because of the injuries. I think there's about 6 players in the team at the moment that you still were unsure of. Sibby Powell. Oh, there's some proper names you've brought in. All right, Joe. Next midfield or ruckman who you think is locked in?
Akers running down a wing.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
It's a great shout.
Either Terrace Singh.
Like we just talked about Newman, another guy who, like we say, picked up for nothing and he's guaranteed best 22. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Like crazy. When you think of some of the trade decisions we've made horrendously, crazy that we've got 2 throwaway picks, best 22. Paul, you love a midfielder in a ruck. Who is it?
I do, but I want to mention the other winger. And I love him. I think he's a fantastic footballer, Ollie Hollins.
Ollie. So are we all in agreement? Because this is probably the most... Ollie's got a chance here of being the next ploughman, I think, in the chance.
How is that? How?
For me, if it's fully fit, I'm probably still taking Doc. If it's the Doc that we know, it's Doc.
Nah.
Ian?
Not on the wing.
Oh, I'm in 2 minds about it. Like doing this and seeing who is to come. I'm not sure.
I'm sure.
I'm very undecided.
Okay, well, you do. Ian said no, but sat right on the fence.
Because I was like, to give a bit more explanation, I had Cottrell there because I was struggling to get Cottrell into the team elsewhere. So I was running a Cottrell Doherty kind of tandem on the wing because I thought quality over that. But if you're looking in Paolo's, who is bona fide going to be the wing every single week in, week out, and I think you go Hollins.
Yep.
All right,
Chat,
Ollie.
We know I'm pro Ollie. Ollie's my boy, and
you've convinced me.
Ollie's at the stage that he could have -5 disposals. I'd back him in. So, chat, are we agreeing? Ollie is in. Are we going to put him in limbo as we sort this team out? A lot of love for Ollie, though.
A lot of love for Matthew Dunn as well. Love Matthew Dunn.
I've indoctrinated you. Bucky is camping.
Yes, he is.
Matthew Dunn makes a great comment as well. Good spot.
Brilliant.
It is good, but I mean, this is a fun game. Looks like Ollie's in, chat.
Good.
Well done. You've sided. You are the deciding vote. Right. Okay. Umar say, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Right. TDK.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Based on current form. Yeah. All right.
I like.
I think over this year, I think TDK has owned this role. Like literally owned it now. Like I think he could have average games, in my opinion, average games from now till we win the flag and still be the number 1 ruckman. I think the body of work at the moment is showing he's progressing well ahead of schedule.
I have a question here, actually, that I just wanted to... I should have probably raised it before we started. Does longevity and durability play a role in this when you're picking it too? I know we're saying everybody's available, but does that have to be... Is anyone factoring that in as well?
Probably to a degree, I am. Because I think if you've got a player that is like, I don't know, you can throw out like maybe a Jack Martin in this. If there's someone that you can't trust to be fit and to have the and to like I was, I guess, throwing out there for a Doherty. Obviously, I think he's in our best team, but it wasn't for argument's sake. A guy that you're not sure what you're getting due to the lack of durability. I think it does play a role because I'm almost doing a lining up schoolyard style. Everyone's on the fence and you have to pick a player. Who are you trusting to get through the game? So I think there is a degree of it for sure.
Yeah. I would say to that, it's do you weigh up how much talent and output we can get from that particular person compared to their durability at that point?
You know what, Paul? I think, when I do these, and this is the first time, I think this year, and doing it now with you guys in real time and goes in chat, that it's the first time ever you can actually do a best 22. Because when I think of a best 11 in football, I think of the 11 guys I know will be there every week.
Yeah.
And then on the subs bench, you've got your mercurial players, your Tony Marshalls, who might be 12 weeks of a 40-week year. But you're like, and that's why Jack Martin excites me now, because I think we've gone past Jack Martin. But if he's fit, what a fucking option.
Yeah. Correct. It's a good call.
Like now,
really
this 22, could win every game. But if you want a point of difference now, suddenly there's so many points of differences. They're not shit points of differences, just holding a spot.
Yeah. Well articulated. Very well articulated.
That's fair.
You know what's really interesting, chat? I don't know if you've noticed. I've just seen because you're starting to throw in your ideas, right? Have you noticed that Sam Walsh hasn't been picked? Like, we are now at the stage where we prioritize the workhorses, where before it would be Walsh would have been our second pick. Now we've got a real understanding of how hard the midfield has to work so Walsh can have 30 touches.
Yeah, it's fair call. That's fair as well.
Like, it's crazy the superstars haven't been selected first. I'm guessing you're saving Walsh because you've all mentioned it. So, chat, you've got two here. This is your best bit. Who are you saving? I'm guessing Walsh is one.
Well, Walsh is in Brad Johnson's All-Australian team. He came in this week, which I thought was an interesting... Out of all the weeks to then bring Walsh in off that performance against Essendon, apparently he's made his way in. One of the most bizarre All-Australian lists if you happen to come across it.
Is that the rolling? That's the rolling All-Australian.
Yeah, it's his rolling one. Yeah, bizarre.
I don't pay much attention to the mainstream.
I've never seen and witnessed a bigger load of absolute.
Oh,
life,
you're in the media, right? And
mate, it makes me sick, mate.
No,
if they asked me to do it, I wouldn't do it.
No, I've got to ask you this: does anyone else think that? Because I have this theory, I put it on Twitter. I've had this theory for years that when you give it to human beings who have got preordained ideas, there is a certain element of favoritism that goes. And when you look at Jacob Whittaker, he's never been in the All-Australian. But there's players that seem to get in there every time. And when they did that halfway point, to see Tom Stewart, where some Geelong forums have suggested he be dropped because he's been poor this year, before he got injured, it just makes me think it's like boys' club mentality, isn't it? We always pick Tom Stewart. So
Rosie was another one where I just went. He's missed like how many games he missed? How can he miss that many games? He's not even playing. Like,
mate, what? I can't wait to see what Tom Stewart does next week. Gonna get roached by our forwards, mate. I'll tell you.
Oh yeah.
Tell you he is.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Connor put some time into him. To be honest.
Yeah, maybe that too. I mean, all these All-Australian. I mean, what is the point of doing an All-Australian thing at the halfway point of the? Who cares? Who cares?
He's so over all this shit.
Paul, I can answer that. Why we're Friday 7:30 doing a best 23?
Yeah,
but this is inclusive of a team. Like, we're actually going through form. We've put a whole heap of time and effort into it. You know, it's
but
we're actually trying to benefit the club.
Paul, you know how the media work. You've just got to turn up with a mic.
Oh, mate.
Does that mean we're not getting the Untitled Blues podcast power rankings every week?
No, none of that. None of that.
Tell you what,
I like the seeds though. I like the seeds with Kingy and Jared Waitley. I think that's a good little concept. I do like that.
No,
chat. Do me a favor, right? There's 100 of you here at the moment. Just when Nick and Paul next put up a post saying get your questions in, just all bombard them saying, "Can you do a rolling All-Australian 23?" for Uncle Pom. For Uncle Pom.
God.
All right, chat. Well, it looks like you saved Walsh and Sheriff, so we'll go on the forwards. I'll stop being a coward and going last because I'm going to save Mr. Charles Anthony Kerner. There can't possibly be any arguments about that.
No.
Go on, Ian. Go on.
No.
You're like, what about Lemmy? Okay, Mr. Joe, we'll go with you second this time. Which forward do you think is undroppable?
No, I don't know if I want to go obvious or just try and throw one in there that I think deserves it.
Right.
I'm not going obvious. Someone else can do it. I'm going to say Cotters on the half forward flank.
Ooh, love it.
Rightio.
You know what I think about Cottrell, and I'm glad you've said it, right? Is someone asked me in Terry a question when we did the ratings about do I think Martin is a walk-up start? And I said I thought Cottrell was more of a walk-up start because I think Voss has accidentally found what the forward line needs. It needs not a third option. It needs a smaller, quicker, more defensive option because they naturally go deeper, which advantages our keys. Where I think Martin's skill set is he makes shit entries look good.
It's more so that with Cotters, you can rotate him on the wing, right? Like, you need that player on a half-forward flank that can push up high. But I reckon I know who the other half-forward flank is going to be as I say that. But you need someone that can push further up the ground to make sure that they're rotating with, like a Hollands, for instance, or an Akers if they do get caught out, or if they're caught out too deep. Like, for me, that's as important as any other role off the half-forward flank. If you don't have someone that's going to work to make sure they're getting up and back on a half-forward flank and apply pressure to make sure that you're keeping your lines as high up the ground as possible, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And Cotters, for me, does it better than anyone in our team. Better than anyone. I think, and he hits the scoreboard too.
Yeah, well, that was like probably my biggest worry with him being injured this time was I don't know who really replaces what he brings. The guy whose work rate allows him to be open inside 50 to be that marking target for us. And luckily, I think, Elijah Hollands has been the guy that's kind of stood up and played that role a little bit for us when he's pushed up there. But, I mean, Cottrell has just been an absolute find. His form over the last 2 years now is just perfect.
I agree.
Paul doesn't agree. Paul doesn't agree.
No, I do. I don't have a stern as argument as all you because I think you can make. I think there's good arguments. I don't think this position is lock, stock, and barrel compared to maybe a few others. I would have thought. I think, and you and I were talking about this too. Probably, I think we've got those maybe 12 to 13 players that people will just be like, oh yeah, and then he probably falls into that category below. That makes sense. But I do err on the side of him being in the team. But I could see him slipping out at a certain point. But I'd prefer to have him in the side. I do like what he brings.
I could see play multiple roles. If this was real life and everyone was fit, I could genuinely see Cottrell, Chincotta and Martin being heavily rotated dependent on oppositions. So if you're playing a dangerous halfback flanker, I think Chincotta is a lock here. But I think if you're playing a team that kicks it out heavily out the back half, it's a Cottrell to chase him down and try and get that wing area locked in. But then I think if it's a team that might be like a Melbourne, I could see Jack Martin playing that role and them going, right, okay, all three of these guys try and defend and intercept. Let's bring in a marking target up there. So I think in an ideal world, we have 8 tools to kill people.
Yeah.
But that being said, Paul, we've got Cottrell and Kerner. We've got the C's. Who are you saving?
Well, I think we've got to save. He's slowly turning into one of, if not my favourite player. Yeah, you've got your mouse right over him there, Pommy. Elijah Hollands. My goodness.
It might not be your favourite player when the Hollands accept mine and Joe's offer of playing golf against them.
Hey, I'm telling you, if we can make that work in the off season, I reckon we'd give him a proper run, Pom, proper.
Mate, I'm telling you, we'll record that and you watch. We'll see how mentally strong they are when I'm in their ear for 80 hours.
Pommy, you're always the shit, brother.
hey, if I play serious, I'm not nice. Look out. But I agree. Don't you think that's amazing with Lidge? Because like Lidge, no surprise, I was half masturbating when we recruited him because he's one of my favourite juniors that I've ever seen play. But doesn't it show you just, when people always say, oh, Dow's going to St Kilda, he's getting like we've made a mistake, or Fisher's having 38 of the most pointless touches you've ever seen at halfback at North. I wish we could see him at Carlton. Doesn't it show you how sometimes a little bit of TLC, a little bit of appreciation, and players can be sensational. Because you look at him at Gold Coast and then look at him here, nothing's changed really, apart from he's got a bit of respect at Carlton. But you're starting to see the growth in him straight away.
And he brings something that we don't have on the list as well.
Yeah.
Like, because I watch Lidge and I'm just thinking, if I was Dimmer, I'd be punching myself in the chin. Because I'm like, I watched Gold Coast the other day and I was like, they probably need him. It's probably the one thing they don't have, because they sold Rankine, who can play half forward, pinch hit in the middle. He's probably the most obvious. And how did that go missing? Like, I'm glad it did. But you look at him and you think, he said it himself. He was stuck in the forward line. They didn't believe he was a midfielder. You watch him and you're like, is a Gold Coast mental?
They probably thought Bailey Humphrey would be that player, and he might still be, but
yeah,
that's a massive mistake from them. Massive. And to let him go so cheaply is just, it blows my mind.
Doesn't it? Yeah. Crazy.
Bevtone. I'm not going to name the person. There was a comment on my preview of the Essendon game, and they actually deleted it at half time, but no word of a lie.
Name him if you're going to do it. Name him.
No, I'm not going to, because I'm not going to. But they deleted it. But it was one of my favourite ones, guy. You're going to see, Pom, why our list management shit when Setterfield tears apart our midfield. And I just had a quiet chuckle to myself.
Why our list management was shit?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was with reference to S. Oh, okay, right. Okay.
And I was like,
I didn't mind Setterfield. I thought he was okay. But
he was good.
As the great Lee Judges says, he's just okay. He's just okay. That's all he.
We had a lot of Will Setterfields.
A lot.
My favorite was the third quarter on the live where I said, is David Teague in the coaching box when they put Will Setterfield on the wing? I was like, he's back. He's back on the wing.
Didn't he play halfback at one point as well? Fuck me, honestly. Jesus Christ.
I do like Will Setterfield, to be honest. Out of all the players who we've got rid of, Will Setterfield is probably the one that I like the most out of Dow and Fisher. But that's like, do you know what I mean? That's like asking me who's my favourite member of the Axis during the war. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you my answer. It's Italy.
I would say you have to say Benito, don't you?
It's Italy. They converted at the end, so it's Italy. So is the answer. Ian, on that bombshell.
Yeah, it's hard to follow that one. I think there's a very obvious answer in the forward line, but I think that's boring. So I'm going to go the other most obvious answer for me, and it's the man who, when he doesn't play, we don't win. It's Fogarty.
Yeah.
He's so important to our structure, the way
Lord
that
Browning.
whole forward line shapes up. He's just, he's great.
17-2, hey?
17-2. That is wild. That is fucking wild.
Yep.
And those two losses were the prelim and GWS, is that right?
Yeah.
Play against Adelaide?
It's basically 17-0.
Did he play against Adelaide? No.
Not this year. Don't think
No,
so.
he didn't. No, not this year, no.
Fractured his wrist.
Yeah.
You know what is my favorite thing about this, right? So if you ever go back to like the draft, my off-season content, I always say that the greatest sides in the league, and we used Geelong as an example a couple of years ago, it's what they do with their picks 30 to 50. And 3 players we've blown smoke up their ass, actually 4, is Elijah, Fogarty, Newman, and Akers, right? And them picks in real life are 55 for Newman, 46 for Akers, and what works out to be pick 30 for Fogarty with Geelong, because it was 51 and 30. So it's really insane just to show that example of what you can do with them late picks. If you can convert them into talent, it's usually where you get your hard yakka from.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because everyone gets excited by pick 10. But like I always say, Helen Keller can pick a good top 10 pick.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and she was blind and deaf, God bless her.
It's finding the ones that people miss, mate. It's like poker. Finding the ones that people miss.
So, chat, you've
Finally
got
getting a
to.
good one from Geelong as well. It took us a while.
Yeah, it was a slow investment. Just makes you think, if only we didn't give up on Billy Smets, how good could he have been?
Fuck,
Third time lucky, wasn't it? Where do we go? Darcy Lang, Billy Smets, and now Lockie Fogarty.
That is shocking.
It's insane. Yeah, and Boyd as well. Yeah, mid-season pick. So it's crazy when you actually look at championship lists. It's not the stars that win the flag. It's the guys that when they say pick 58, this guy, you go, who the fuck's that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I'd
And they're
also
the
like
ones
to do?
who win it.
Can we do a little project before when we actually finalize this team? Can we just collate how many players are drafted by us? So not recruits from other clubs. I'd like to see how many, when we finalize this, how many players are actually drafted by us. Because I remember when we did our little investigates, Pommy, that one of the big, and is it a factor in a premiership? Yeah, maybe, potentially. How the last sort of 10 to 12 to 13 premiers, the majority of the players that took the field were all draftees. I think the least amount was maybe 15 or 14.
Well, we've got 10 so far here of the 16 that we've named have been drafted by us.
Okay, interesting.
Including supplementary periods and mid-season draft.
Yeah. That's included in it too. Okay, interesting.
So, chat, we need 2 forwards. So you've got a real interesting predicament here. I'm guessing you're going to go Harry Mackay there. So, chat, throw your comments in now. If you've already done it, you've all been talking a lot with us, so I can't be bothered scrolling back up. So re-enter your votes. I was collating it, but then forgot. But then a forward pocket. The forward pocket, I think, is going to be the most interesting one because you've got some real options there. Like, are you going Zach Williams? Are you backing? Because I think Paul made a really good statement the other day where I saw a comment, someone had a go at him, but I actually was like, Paul makes a good point. It's 3 games. Can you bank on that for the rest of your life? And that's very old school mentality, isn't it? How many players have we had in our best 22 for 10 years because they've had 3 good games? Say hello to David Cunningham.
Well, that's the thing. When the pressure really, really starts to come on and people realize that you've just produced the ace up your sleeve and you actually probably didn't know you had the ace up your sleeve and people are like, oh, hang on a minute. They've actually made this move and we need to be... Now, when Zach Williams is going to start to get some attention, how's he going to deal with it? That's the question. It's
going to be interesting. I mean, it's a great thing, like, because that goes back to Paul's point earlier. Are you going ceiling, potential, availability?
Yeah.
I mean, you've all voted Zach Williams, which I agree. I think Lockie Jack makes a good point. Motlop is in the conversation as well. Should he find the consistency? Really, to be fair, we talked about Matt Cottrell's role. I think the forward pocket role, if I was a young kid in the draft, I'm thinking my quickest way to get a flag is probably being really good in the draft, and the forward pocket at Cowan isn't locked. I think that's the quickest way to get a flag if I'm a kid.
Not the worst argument. Jack Ginnivan type setup, Pommy.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're a Gold Coast forward and you're not playing, say like a Malcolm Rosas or someone like that, who's injured at the moment, but then he's struggling to get back in the team, that's probably an option to trade to, isn't it? It's probably an option to trade going, I can do this.
Yep.
This is a bit of me, this.
Looks like it's Williams right now, eh?
There's definitely a bit of recency bias in that, no doubt about it.
There is. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how this team looks out because now we're on the long interchange bench. So there's some massive names not in the team, like Lockie Cowan, Pom Cotter, Sam Dock. Do you know what I mean? The Durden twins, as I like to call them. Razio's not been selected, chat. Disgrace. Marchbank Martin. There's a load of players here that... Jack Silvani as well. Yeah, you've all been doing that.
There are a lot of players that are stiff there.
This is where it's fucking hard. So, you know what? When it's hard, we'll pick on the new kid. Joe, who are you saving?
Well, fuck.
This is where you lose a load of subs if you get this wrong. This is pressure. This you want pressure. Here it is.
It's got to be George Hewitt for me.
Yeah.
It has to be. You can't not have George Hewitt in our best 23. There's no chance.
Selection panel. Do you all agree with that, George Hewitt? Is he like definitely in? Rodri?
Yeah, he
And
has.
a caveat: if he's in, does that instantly, in your opinion and chats, delete Pitternet and delete Kennedy?
It does indeed. Yep.
I'd say definitely Kennedy. Watch on Pitto.
I'm with you, Lock.
Interesting.
I don't have to be there on the field at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can have someone.
This is why this exercise infuriates me.
It's so hard. No, but I like this exercise because I think this gets you into your head. No, but it gets you into your headspace. Like why I threw that question out. I think sometimes when people do their best 22, they don't think of roles and they don't think of team makeup, and they just think it's FIFA. And we've got Ronaldinho playing in goal. Yeah, fat Ronaldo playing up front, sexy Ronaldo next to him. Like before you know it, you got too many players, and you need a little bit of shit if you've got some class. But Bev and Paul gifting 5 members. You guys are legends. If you are now members, I implore you after this to go and watch Explicit Empress and me last night in the members live. Loads of you have given me feedback that you really got something out of it. She's a wonderful lady. So if you want to hear us go a little bit kooky and a bit crazy, go and check it out. It's really good. But I agree with that one. Mr. Ian.
This is the tough part because I don't think anyone's nailed on from here on out. And like the Hewitt would have been my last one. So I think I'm going to try and go role-wise, which feel free to disagree with this, but I think you need another small in the forward line with Zach Williams. I still don't trust that that's his spot. And at the moment, I have Motlop ahead of all of them as that natural, looks for the goals. He's done it in big games for us. So I think because we've also got Cottrell and Hollands and Fogarty that are all workhorses that have those higher rolls up the ground as well, we need someone closer to goal. So yeah, Jesse Motlop.
Jesus.
Fair.
Do we all agree with that?
I do wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I think Mott's is one for the future. For sure.
I'm on with you. I think your reasoning's great. I'm looking at some of the names. I'm like, can't believe
crazy, isn't it?
They're going to miss out. There's going to be at least two. At least two that should be in there.
Jesus. Okay, I'll put it in. I'm a man of integrity. Okay. We've had Ian. We've had Mr. Joe, Mr. Paul. This is so hard. Like we're breaking someone's heart here now.
Right.
Oh, where? There you are.
There we are. Okay. Can we scroll up to what names? Just in case I've missed out on some. This is tough. Alex Chincotta.
Oh, I'm caught. He's there.
Tag
is back. Back again. Tag is back.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm in the camp of he's with Williams at the moment in that.
He's back.
Just
back.
Recency bias. I don't know. He's been brilliant. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, he was good last year though. In that, but it was a different role. It was a different role.
It was, but he's been brilliant. You can't fault him. But if we're talking absolute best, if they're all available, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Can I ask, what is your role for him in the team? Are you having him where he can kind of literally play across any line you need him? Is he in there as that 7th defender, as in the defensive 7 rotations? How do you kind of see it if you're selecting him?
What he's doing now, start at half forward and then move on to whoever the most dangerous on-baller is. And then if we need him elsewhere, then we put him elsewhere. And that's the beauty of him, I think, as well. And now he's proven he can kick goals at forward stoppage, which is I don't think many of us expected that. I know he's actually got such a nice kick, and I was wanting him to get. I wanted the coaches to actually let him off the leash a little more, a little bit more than he was, because I actually think he's a very powerful and very good user of the football, and he's actually very aggressive with ball in hand, which is something that we can just lack in a little bit as well. But yeah, for me, I do like that. Could be it's one of our, and I think because it's gone out of the game, you're always looking for a competitive edge and trying to get something against your opponent, and he's exactly what that is now. Midfielders and teams don't know who he's going to go to. They have a decent idea of who it might be. But the fact that we keep the card close to our chest and we've got that card, I think is great. But he might be one of those ones that rotates through with the rest of these blokes as well, in that maybe sort of outside of those, I say, best 13 in inverted commas. But
could you see a world
yeah,
looking at this?
You know what? Outside of the role, right? Outside of the role. So we can look at the intricacies of the role and we can look at the numbers and we can look at, he plays in this position, but you can't, I don't think you can underestimate players who set a standard like he does. Yeah, they're good for club culture. They play with the embodiment of the monogram. You can't, and I know it's a bit of a wank. I know, I get it. I understand that, but you can't underestimate that type of player out on the field. It's like, what was his name? Carrick for Man United. Guys like that. Guys like Darren Fletcher. Gary Neville. And at Arsenal, as we mentioned, Gilberto. All those guys who they're not the best players, right, on the field. Look, I love him. I absolutely love him. And players like that, I think you need in your team week in, week out.
Could you see a role, like long term, like just looking at that team? Let's just say Jesse, who I think, because like Matty always isn't in the team, which I think on form, if you had to rank your small forwards, I think Zach Williams would be number one at the moment. But Owies would probably be number one for consistency over 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So could you see a world, though, like Chincotta pushes out for his versatility, maybe a George Hewitt? So based on this team, you've got Cottrell, who's better defensively than our normal half-forward line at the moment. Suddenly that's quite defensive and attacking. That maybe someone who's maybe more defensive, like a Fogarty or a George Hewitt, do eventually lose out because Chincotta played that defensive role and kick goals.
Potentially, and then a guy like Elijah gets more inside mid-time, that kind of evolution. I think there's plenty of scope for a lot of different slight role changes in the team to evolve, and it's going to be the exciting thing now that we've built what we have and the standard that you're talking about with a guy like Chincotta, where, he lifts the guys around him. He kicks a goal. You celebrate more when a guy like Chincotta puts one through.
This one's really fucking tough. I've been trying to kill time, as I think. Like, it's like having to answer the question, who is my favourite kid?
Are you going the dual ruck system?
Nah.
Is the question. And if not, who's the other ruckman?
That's the only thing I've confirmed mentally. No. I'm trying to look at the team. I think Jesse Motlop and Chincotta mean it can't be a forward. So it has to be someone who can play a lot of roles. Probably is Doc, innit?
Yep.
Because he can play there. He can technically play there, but he can also play there.
I guess it depends. This is the hard thing with this exercise, even and everyone fit, because
can't believe I used to go last. What an idiot. There you are. Sam Dockett is in chat. Okay, so chat, you've got the last option. We have one spot, one name. One spot, one name. All right? So is it Domaku for the culture?
Yes.
Binns, Carroll, Matt Carroll, forgot we had him. Lachlan Cowan, David Cunningham, Matt Duffy, who's not there yet, but he could be. Corey Durden, Sam Durden, Alazio Fantasia, Matt Kennedy, Harry Lemmy, Cooper, Lord and Saviour, Caleb Marchbank. Please don't choose Caleb Marchbank, chat. Jack Martin, Alex Verkoff, Ashton Moyer, Rob Monaghan, Hudson O'Keefe, Matty Owies, Mark Pitternet, Jack Silvani, Billy Wilson, Lewis Young. So we'll discuss the merits while you're all doing it. But Jack Silvani's come up quite a bit in the chat as you were trying to plead with me to save him. Do you think, in your heart of hearts, now let's just take the name. Let's judge him as he's called Jack Graham, right? That's what we're going to call him. He's Jack Graham's, not Silvani. And everyone says second ruck. Do you think we need a second ruck in your heart of hearts? Are we happy with how Harry Mackay works up the ground?
My issue around the second ruck is they're not having Harry in there all the time. Like we saw against Essendon, Kennedy and Cripps going in there, and that's when I hate it because they gave away so many dumb free kicks because they're just not ruckmen. And I'm not sure we've nailed the plan when it's not DeConing in there. There's clearly still scope for improvement there. I like him as an option to be that he's in the forward line or he is helping in the ruck and he's going to be the best second ruck there. Him and Harry going together, being an extra tall, because when you throw Harry out of there and DeConing's on the bench, at least then Jack's in the forward line and you've got an extra tall marking target. But yeah, I don't know. Is it the best option? Because it's kind of the discussion we've had on the Navy Blue corner quite a lot, me and Lockie talking about. It's like the opportunity cost of, is that the best thing for the team to bring in Silvani because the ruck gets a little bit better? Or are you better off not worrying about that and bringing someone else that brings better forward craft, or they add more to the midfield or the defense, other areas? It's a tough discussion.
Here's the other layer to that. And this is where I'll make a case for Pito, because I'm a big fan of Pito. What happens in a qualifying final or a prelim, or God forbid a grand final, if Tom goes down? What happens? Yeah.
I think we're two rucks in finals.
Hey?
I'm a big fan of the two rucks in finals.
I'm telling you now, and this is why I am so confident that Mark Pittonet will play as soon as he's fit, because of that factor alone. Our entire structure built on one ruck would completely fall apart if there's not a Sauce or Pito in the side.
Yeah. Do you see in moments we gave away some stupid free kicks when DeConing was not in the ruck and you just concede territory straight away?
Yeah. It's great. It gets Harry into the game. It pushes, I know what the arguments are. It pushes him up the ground. It gets him into the game and around the ball and all that sort of thing. But I truly believe, as well as this is working right now, we need to make a two-ruck system work, because
fair enough.
If God forbid Tom was to go down at any stage, we would be fucked royally.
Bit of insurance is always good, I think.
You know what, Joe? I'm glad you say it, because it's something I've been trying to prepare the Blue Abroad audience for. I am 1,000% guaranteeing you now, Mark Pittonet is in the best 22. I don't care what you say. Voss
and Cripps have both alluded to the fact that it's a two-ruck system. That's it. That's plan A. That is plan A.
Voss couldn't make it more obvious at this stage for me. Like, without him coming up the next press conference with Mark Pittonet tattooed on his neck, that would be. But I agree with you, and I something you said, Ian, turns me on. Watching the game, that they don't trust Harry fully as well. There's certain moments of the game that they see we need two key forwards and they float someone else in there for the sake of that. And then it looks rubbish because, like, Matt Kennedy in the ruck, honestly, Jesus.
Bobbins.
Some of the worst things I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? I grew up around the time of Vines.
When we win a flag, Mark Pittonet will receive a premiership medal. I guarantee you for a fact that is going to happen. Number 27, Mark Pittonet, will be called out on stage by all the announcers and he will go and grab his medal. I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
You know what, though? You've all voted JSOS, so I think spot on. You've seen the second ruck option. But when you look at these guys out here, right, just looking at it, let's go with people that are definitely never playing in the best 22 in 2026 unless there's injuries. I think it's fair to say that who I've deleted so far is probably spot on. Harry Lemmy, let's be honest, he's not playing.
Yep.
Hudson O'Keefe, Rob Monahan. Maybe. No. Okay,
Sorry,
so let's
Cooper.
just that's not a bad.
Good
Not
pull.
a bad extended bench,
Yeah.
is it? Like none of
Yeah.
them names there make me go.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
there's
depth-
not a lot of
yeah.
algae in that pool, mate.
The depth chart is very, very good at the moment.
Like,
Can
you know
I-
what mean? So-
Can I throw something out with the team now that we've got way too many forwards? I think Motlop probably has to be culled then, my selection. Because I think we've got way too many forwards
Do we?
for team balance.
Motlop, Silvani.
If Silvani's in there, yeah.
Well, if he's playing forward ruck, he just goes more on the ball. And you've got to remember, Jesse Motlop's not a forward anymore because he's doing the Orazio Fantasia role.
Yeah.
So when Orazio plays, he's actually like somewhere here on average. And he overlaps him and he underlaps him. And Orazio's just kind of there asking if some guy in Rosehead can get him the popcorn. Orazio's there like, oi, 2 beers. So that would be just. So I don't think you would change him. To be honest, I think you're right. I think the role he's playing in VFL, he's in because he's the extra.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting.
The only name I don't think will be there if Pitternet plays is him. I think if that's Pitternet, in my opinion, if Michael Voss was here, I reckon that, right? And then whatever team we play, I reckon that's his best 22. I reckon if Voss was doing this, that's his best 22. And that guy there is literally dependent on, do we need to tag someone or do we need a bit more pace on the outside half back? I reckon that's the surplus role.
I reckon Cowan's stiff as well,
Very,
structurally,
very stiff.
for Vossi.
Yeah, but I think if you play someone like last week who have got loads of rotating forwards, that's Cowan. I think if that's Richmond, you probably put Hewitt there.
I just think.
Do you see what I mean?
George Hewitt has, for me, regardless. I think he plays every week. I think I can't see them not naming George Hewitt ever.
I agree. I just think moving forward, I think Jack, I always like in my heart of hearts. I know this is going to break people, but I think because Jack Silvani played ruck last year, that was Voss saying, "We don't fully trust you as a forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't fully
100%.
trust you as a backman. We don't fully trust you as a midfielder. You're the only one I can afford to stop playing a role because everyone else is important." And I think that's why you see Harry come out of the ruck very quickly. Voss sees that problem. So I think it's actually Mark Pitternet, but it's Jack Silvani for the purpose of this exercise.
It's going to be very interesting to see who requests a trade out of this club over the next couple of years, because I can see the likes of a Kennedy, an Owies, and a Silvani exiting.
Right. Yeah.
Based on availability, obviously.
Maybe.
We're going to... Hey, when you become this good and this consistent, when you've got this sort of depth, these are the things that we're going to have to deal with as a supporter, unfortunately.
It is. So out of this team that we've just put together and locked in, how many are draftees? What have we got? So we've got Wiedering, Kemp,
Tell you what,
Boyd,
we'll do this.
Ollie. Yeah, so
So-
Wiedering, Kemp.
So we've got Kemp, Boyd
Boyd.
will count because it's MSD.
Yeah, so those count. Ollie,
Cripper,
Cripper,
Mackay,
Cottrell, Mackay,
Charlie,
Charlie,
Walsh, De Koning.
Ulster Koning.
Walsh, the Koning,
Motlop,
Jesse,
Chincotta.
Motlop,
and Chincotta,
and
Oh,
Silvani. No, not Doc.
Oh, no, sorry, Brisbane.
Silvani. So what's that?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 out of 23.
Slowly starting to get there. And out of the other options in the pool that we look at, who are potentially guys out of there. So you could
So at the
say,
moment we're only we're 56.
yeah. So say it could be someone like an Owies who could potentially work his way into the team. Lockie Cowan as well could potentially be part of that too. So that could also push it up to beyond 60-65%. So that's the realm you want to, from what we've seen, and it doesn't guarantee anything because it's always and forever changing. But that's the realm you kind of want to see your team in, I would suggest. So yeah, there you go.
Well, that's going to be the interesting thing, I think, about that, in how many more trades are happening over the next, 5-10 years, how much that shifts. Because I think that the point of it is clear that you do need to be bringing in your own talent and building them that way. But I wonder if that will evolve or not. But I like that we're finally turning towards developing our own players rather than having to bring them all in. It's so much better.
Correct. If we're doing this logically, though, like next year, it'll look like that.
Yeah, and you can add Tex Walker. You can add Walker's son. What's his name? Cody. In the year after.
But I mean next year.
For next year, Camporelli, the Camporelli boys.
You know what I mean? So, tell you what, we've got 2 extra bits of the game. So, recruits, I asked you off, audience and chat. I want you to think about this as you stream in. One realistic trade or free agency target next year you'd like to get in. So, Ian, I'll start with you. I know you put a lot of thought. You lay in bed at night like I do thinking about this. Mrs. Pond looks at me going, I bet he's thinking about other women. And I'm like, just want to know how we can get Charlie Cameron to this club.
Oh, that's that funny meme. I bet he's thinking about other women.
See, what's funny is that no one's going to vote for mine because mine probably doesn't start in a best 23, all the ones I would be throwing out there, which is interesting in how I perceive our list right now. I'm basically going to throw out, which one of mine am I going to go with in the end? I'm going to go for Jacob Constanti as another small forward to add to the crop that we have. I loved him in his draft year. He isn't getting a look in at Sydney. He likes to pressure, but he can also hit the scoreboard. I know we've got heaps of those, so maybe that means one of them exits, but we've talked and spoken about how that spot's still open. Guys like Durden haven't necessarily taken it just yet. I think there's scope for someone like him to come in with a higher ceiling.
I love it. No. I think that's the right wavelength. That's a very Nick Austin recruitment, that I think. You know what? If that happens, I reckon we trade Corey Durden.
Because honestly, right now, when you're looking at the list, there's no big fishes out there in the free agency pool at the moment. So it's going to be tough to bring someone in. So I think these are the kind of moves that you'll probably see us making now that, I guess, Will Hayward's re-signed.
Right. You know what? I'm going to go boring. This is who I brought in.
Yep. Like it.
Ooh, yeah.
Honestly, the most miserable selection. Usually, I can't wait to show you my off-season draft content and trade because it is absolutely fucking boring. I say, usually I'm linking us with someone. It's absolutely boring. It's mother-in-law dinner. That's how boring my targets are this year. Okay, Paul.
Is he out of contract, Ben Ainsworth?
He is. Yeah, he's a peanut swap. So I'm looking
restricted free agent.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the name that came up in my head. Definitely.
You can keep the same.
Will I keep the same? Yeah, let's keep the same.
Or you can bring in Rory Lobb, please.
Rory Lobb.
I've always wanted Carlton to sign him just because Let Dog does draft content with me and he fucking hates him. So I've begged for the day we sign Rory Lobb.
What is that? I mean, honestly. Yeah, I'll stick. Look, I think we'll stick with Ben Ainsworth.
I like it. And have you got one for us, Joe?
I'm about to make the chat cry, like proper cry. There's a name in our 23 that I genuinely think, based on the midfielders that we've got, that we could part with. Okay. and this is purely fantasy, right? So let's not get too shitty.
You said that.
Don't get too shitty.
Oh no.
But there's also a player at Adelaide that I love, absolutely love, and apparently he's disgruntled. And when I heard that this week, I thought Josh Rochelle in our forward line would be fucking electric. Now, to get him in, you've got to free up you've got to free up cap space. And I'm looking at Adam Chera going, he hasn't been there for the last month. He's a brilliant player, but is he a player that we are going to sorely miss if he's not there? And for me, that is a straight swap for Adelaide, who are in desperate need of a classy midfielder like Chera.
I think we've got the cap.
Well, if we've got the cap, even better.
We had it for Hayward.
He's contracted though. That's the only thing. It's a decent contract, so you got to give up something.
So didn't he sign a deal?
He signed like a 7-year deal or something, didn't he?
Oh God, the Cane Corn special.
I'm telling you, this kid in the right environment in his draft year, I thought he would go top 3, knowing what he could do. He bolted out of the gates with Adelaide in his first season. He's dropped off a little bit, and I just think in the right environment, he would be a fucking star.
Grew up a Carlton supporter, I believe, as well.
He did.
Yep.
Also a soccer player as well. Very good one.
He is, yeah.
You know what? Yeah. Just speaking about it makes sense because you know what? My brain is telling me how this trade would work, but it would be this guy, wouldn't it? Right? It would be him and Corey Durden in a deal. Right?
That wouldn't take Durden.
Well, I mean, talk is they were linked with him.
Really?
He's South Australian, so
and you think of the issues they have. Josh Rochelle is kind of Elijah Hollands at Adelaide because they're playing Rochelle forward, where he's that pinch hitting mid forward. So Corey Durden would straight away be that. Rankine is their mid forward now.
Yeah.
So it would probably appeal to both parties. The Chera makes sense because he's basically Rory Sloan.
I love Ches, by the way, right? I'm not saying
I do as well. But I'm just saying, I actually could
see. If we're looking at the structure of the side, one of the Campo twins is an inside mid, isn't he, as well? Is it Lucas or Ben? One of them? I can't remember. But anyway, we've got a plethora of mids. If you bring Josh Rochelle into that forward line for the next 5 years and really harness what he can bring and give him the right environment to develop and grow, that forward line is unstoppable. You cannot... Like, who do you go to? All right, so you stifle Charlie for a game. Josh Rochelle kicks 4. Stifle Rochelle. Charlie gets off the leash, kicks 5 or 6. If it's not them, it's Harry. Like, it would be the best move we've ever made. But that's fantasy booking for you.
I like the bold call. I like the bold. To be fair, I like it. I could see how the trade could get done as well. I can visualize what they're looking for and doing it. So,
Chat's crying, as I thought, but that's all right.
You know who I want to change mine, actually. Can I change mine?
You can.
Name just came to mind. I didn't know if he was out of contract, and I just had to search his name.
Let me guess, Marcus Bontempelli.
Yeah, that'd be nice. No, I do like, and I think these type of players are, and you saw what Geelong did with Isaac Smith. They went and got him, and they were in their premiership window and went and got a bit of experience out on the wing and someone to set a standard. But a player who can play multiple roles and who has the experience and who has the premiership in his grasp and who's won it, Mark Blitzarves is 33. If you're looking at the for now, which we are, wouldn't cost you much. Yeah, it wouldn't cost you much. We've seen him be able to play wing. He can play down back. He can play up forward. He's a player of multiple roles. He's a standard setter, elite endurance. Premiership winner, comes from a fantastic system, a fantastic football club, a club that we've, envied, not through hatred, but envied because we want to be a club like Geelong that just continually rocks up and performs on a consistent basis. So I think, Mark Blitzarves would be someone I think we could potentially look at. It'd only be a year or two thing, but it's more just to I would just say just to set and hold the standard for some of the younger guys that come through the ranks too. But yeah, Tim P. Cats will play until he dies like a gelding. They run until they put the green screen up.
Just force him to play.
Yeah, and I don't know if there would be. I don't know how they would. I would assume Bryan Cook has some. Would be able to manufacture some sort of. Negotiation there. I don't know how that would work, but I would assume there's always that connection. A guy comes from a club, comes over, and he can bring over guys from there as well. So we've seen Wazze do it with Orazio, and a few others as well. So Ebert, who's one of our assistant coaches now, so maybe that could be like Lou said, he wouldn't get a game at Carlton. I don't think it's necessarily about always just getting a game, if that makes sense. I don't think it's to do with that, but he could definitely fill a role. I think just from a standard perspective, I think
he would absolutely get a game at Carlton. I'd take Mark.
Could be the way to go. Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't write him off too quickly. He's a pretty good footballer, Mark Blitzer.
No, mate. I love that selection. And Jordan, you'll love this. So unrestricted, basically think of NBA out of contract. They can just go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Restricted free agent. Don't think of NBA and don't think of any sport and just imagine some kind of weird communist government. So basically, we can offer someone a contract. So let's just say I want to buy Joe. Paul owns him. I can offer him a contract. Paul can match it. If that happens, he stays at the club. I have to trade for him. Yeah. And then you have some weird rule, which is the Adam Sard rule, out of contract, which means that if that's Joe can not turn up to work on Monday, but welcome to the full Marxism, communism. He can't, though. I still own him. I'm not paying his wages. I still own him. And the only way to get him is to trade for him, or he take the risk that Ian doesn't pick him with his pick 1 in the preseason draft.
Oh, I'm getting him.
He ruins his life even more because me and Ian are mates.
The best way around the best way around that one that clubs don't use enough is just giving them a fucking ridiculous deal in the first year that other clubs can't match in terms of the contract when they walk to the preseason.
Jack Martin.
Yeah. We've done it a couple of times when Sauce once, you're right, with Jack Martin with Sauce, but
do you know what though? There's an interesting thing.
Recruiters in the AFL they don't have a ruthless bone in their body. They just
they don't do they?
But there is an interesting thing about it. There's that I was told by a very good friend of mine in WA that when we bought Adam Chera, he was adamant there was going to be a deal on the back end. So he was like, something will happen. In the next 2 years, something will happen because you didn't negotiate. And then what happened? Yeah. Blake Acres, they came out and said they wanted a second. They settled for a shit pick because that's all that Carlton had. So there is an argument that Nick Austin, when people say Nick Austin's a bad negotiator, you look at the Dogs. Dogs have never negotiated deals. They've never negotiated deals. They've just always given what's been asked of them, and then they leave. But it pays you back because the AFL is like a boys' club. So I always say, look at Essendon. They never get any deals. Essendon never get any deals. Whenever there's a freebie going, there's always a bit of a dilemma with it. Like you look at the Shield deal, how long that dragged out for, because clubs don't like working with them. So there is also the argument that if you do that, teams won't help you. And North manipulated the rule to get Hugh Greenwood. And you look at the trades they've done since then, teams don't look after them.
And would a player want to go to a club if they go, are they even going to get the deal done? So there's so many intricacies to it. It's weird.
Good point.
It's fair, but I still think they're weak piece, to be honest.
I think it should be.
Absolutely agree.
But I've always said when big clubs like Carlton rip off shit clubs like Gold Coast, they'll won't close the loophole. But you need Carlton to be in that situation. You need a player to be out of contract, and Carlton potentially lose it. And you watch that loophole close. When it's a big club, they'll be like, okay, cool. So, chat. Who do you think? Josh Battle ain't a bad shout. I don't mind that, Lou. I think you can draft a player, though, is where Carlton will be for someone like Josh Battle.
Yeah.
Out of these, what are you thinking? You know what? Now you've said it, Ian, I don't mind Constante. Constante is that guy that if let's just say Adelaide or Port rang us up tomorrow and said, we'll give you a third for Durden, And then I rang Sydney and said, Constante, he's not fucking doing anything. And they said, oh, you just got third from Port. I'd swap. I'd be like, okay, let's get him in.
Loves a tackle inside 50.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Which are we leaning towards? Chat,
do you know
tell
what?
us.
I think it's a good balance. All four are a really good balance of age. So you've got the older statesman in Blitzarves, who's been there and done it, won a premiership, can play multiple roles. You've got Josh Rochelle, who was a really, really high draft pick, who's maybe a bit disgruntled with the club, who hasn't really gone to the next level this season just yet. But you'd probably have to give up a bit for him. And Jacob Constanti, you wouldn't really have to give up a hell of a lot for him. And he's still got plenty of scope as a footballer as well. So I think we've covered all that. And Ben Ainsworth is the player that, he hasn't been there and done it, but he's got some real... he's proven as a footballer, but he hasn't been able to do it at a club and at a really high level on a consistent basis. I'm saying just because of the team is the issue there. So I think we've covered all bases. It's a great argument for all four, I think.
I agree. I mean, I do like, the Blitzarves one that you threw out just out of nowhere. I don't mind it because it suddenly answers the question ruck forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, suddenly Carlton can just put another 2 years into Hudson O'Keefe. If they want to play two rucks and have an auxiliary role, he can play in the mid, he can play down the back.
Well, I think, and the beauty about that, Pommy, is too, he's a player like him as well. He can teach and he can guide some of these younger players alongside him too. And you've seen, and you know how I say excited, but how adamant we were that Isaac Smith coming into Geelong was really going to help out Max Holmes. And Max Holmes is probably their best player this year. And who did he learn off for 2 years? He learned off Isaac Smith. And it comes as no shock that Max's Holmes development has just gone. I'm not saying that that's just going to be a fait accompli if Mark Blitzarves comes into the team. But if you want to argue that point, there's definitely some evidence there to suggest that it could be the case for one of our younger players if a guy like Mark Blitzarves came into the team, because he's a standard setter and he's been there and done it too.
We said for years we wanted leadership, someone that's been there and done it.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah. No, exactly right. Exactly right.
Mate, I think you're right. I think it's one of them wonderful things as well that, like, do you keep banking on projects? I actually think now you're going to see a change intact in that we don't go for projects, we go for sure things a bit more. I don't think we'll keep doing that whole let's hope we get one right. I think you'll start seeing Carlton now err on the side of boring caution.
Yeah. Because we are in that window now where we're competing for the cup. And eventually the pendulum will swing back the other way where we go for the draft and we go. But that, I think in this time now you want to go for a play you can be rest assured on, I would suggest.
I think that's a great shout, Pete. I'm going to say now, Carlton's first pick will be a key defender. I'll go early. I think it'll be. I think you'll see us get before the Camparellis and snag a key defender. There's like 3 at the moment based on the draft board. So I reckon they'll say, but we'll play our final game.
Yep.
Right. This is a version of Shag, Marry, Avoid. Right. D-list. We're going to call it D-list, renew, or trade. So you'll see unrestricted free agent. I've just explained it to you. Basically, it's entirely he can do whatever he wants. You will see exceptions to this rule. Like if you have a good relationship, like Nick Newman, teams will trade. So teams will trade to try and make it easy. And then free agent, that's the Adam Sard. If Carlton don't negotiate a trade, he goes into the preseason pool, and where he ends up. So we've got either keep D-list or re-sign. So we'll start. Murkoff, re-sign, chat and the panel. Re-sign, D-list or trade? Attempt to trade.
D-list.
Yeah,
D-list.
sorry. We've got another developing ruckman that's shown more.
Yep.
Are we agreeing, chat?
Yep.
Bit of D-list action. You know what? This is my favourite. This time. It's a bit early, but
Delete
instead of list.
I like that.
Delete sounds even worse.
delete.
You killed him. You
Delete.
him.
Delete. Now, Caleb Marchbank. This one's going to be an interesting one.
He walks. He's not
Delete.
He walks. It's not really delisting him. He's gone.
Unrestricted
He's
agent.
take the offer from North, and off we go to something.
Yeah, gone.
No.
Bye.
Max gone.
You know what? Would you? I mean, you know where he's going to end up, don't you? I mean, you know what? I'm going to go bold here.
He's going to go to St Kilda.
Well done.
You reckon?
Thank you.
Sauce. Hey, third time's the charm.
He's going to St Kilda. Josh
I reckon-
Battle's going to leave.
I still think it's North. I still
You
think
reckon?
it's North.
Josh Battle will leave St Kilda and Caleb Marchbank will end up at the Saints.
North are
Howard
desperate.
leave as well.
North are desperate. Saints have got key defenders and interceptors, even if Josh Battle walks.
If Hawthorn miss out on everyone again, they'll be after.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be an interesting one though, because you look at. I mean, this. I look at Saints' like list and stuff like that. Like this could be like one of them situations as well. If Sauce is in a good mood, like there is a player there that I'm looking at who's a non-free agent called Ollie Houghton. Like, is that something that maybe Carlton look at and try and do a friendly? We've seen these loads in the AFL on unrestricted agents where teams just basically say, look, he hasn't kicked on here.
Yeah.
You can have him. We'll have your guy. Happy days. I mean, I could see that happening because I don't know why Ollie Houghton isn't getting a chance. And it's probably something that when Carlton look at their VFL, we don't really have a developing kid.
Probably got a
But you
few
never
in
know.
that role now, I reckon.
It'll just be an interesting one what they do because I can see a few leaving. But here we go. I'm guessing we're going to re-sign this kid. He's only on 6 months, but
Easy one.
Absolutely.
I reckon he's back. Okay, this is going to be the one that divides you all. Mr. Cunningham spelt wrong. He
Gone.
spells it wrong. I don't. It should be a double N.
Delete.
Gone. Bye.
Delete. Honestly, it's so much better if you say delete. I don't know why everyone's scared when they say delist. It sounds way too nice. You've been
Delete.
sacked.
It's the Matt Hardy delete.
Yep.
That's a great call, Ian. Fucking brilliant.
You know what? He is
Tom's got the italics, has he? Has he got the italics there as well? It's a delete.
You know what's funny about Cunningham? He's one that I could see go to North. I've got a feeling that North this year will attack the draft really hard and then attack free agency stupidly with loads of second chance players. And I could see Connors getting a gig there.
Okay.
Good luck. He's
Controversial, but I think they've got the ability. Domaku.
See you later.
Soft delete.
Yeah.
Do you say soft delete?
Yeah.
Nah,
I want to be kind to him.
gone.
We can do it.
It's
Look.
a delete in a nice way.
I could do a soft delete. Do a big one, small one, whatever you want. I agree. Do you know what I mean? I just can't see persistent. I love Dom as well, but honestly,
Gave him the extra year. Now it's done.
Yeah.
Lidge.
Well, this is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
3-year deal or 4-year deal?
Oh, give him 5. Fuck it. Yeah.
5.
You can't do 5 because Jesus
sign
Christ.
him.
Have you seen Carlton fans if we
Well,
ever offer
what
over
will
2
take
years?
him? What will take him up to restricted free agency? Because that's what his manager will do. I think.
Yeah. Whatever gets him to 8.
Where is he now? How many years is he? What? Let's have a look. What's his age?
But it's got to
Years
be
of
6 years
service.
at the club, doesn't
So-
it?
Is that right?
shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It'll probably be. I
Nah,
reckon.
it'll be
I
4
reckon
years.
it's a 5. I reckon
Okay.
they'll start going long term now
Okay.
with like
Interesting.
little caveats for extensions, like Chincotta had.
Yeah, I think it'll be 3 or 4 with like a trigger or something like that, I reckon.
All right, Hudson O'Keefe.
So
Resign.
Yeah.
Jack Carroll.
sign.
Ooh.
I've got trade here.
Nah,
Yeah.
sign. sign.
I
Need
have
the depth.
keep on like a 1 year deal.
Yeah, need the depth. VFL especially. Still need players. Can't just, still need midfielders. What happens if the whole midfield just gets absolutely depleted? Who steps up?
You don't have that guy who's at least got I know to a lesser extent, but you're bringing in, the Camporelli twins and all of that. Who's the guy that has the body to play? Yeah.
I'm going to re-sign, and just based on the fact that he's continually getting a game, he's continually on the precipice of the team this year, I'm going to say keep.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to put Pom's big call out. Do you remember Fish and Crips?
Yep.
If Carroll resigns, Crips starts doing a podcast with Jack Carroll.
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, Jack Martin.
He's gone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I love him to death, and I think if his body didn't let him down, he could have been anything for us, but I think he's gone, boys.
Yeah.
So are we what would we be wanting for a trade for Jack Martin?
Probably a late second.
Anyone?
Early third.
Early third, I think. Late
Did you just
second,
say
early
anything,
third.
Ian?
I was about to say a functioning calf muscle is what I'll get back in return, but I don't know.
I thought you said anything, just like anything, whatever you give me.
This is the year. This is the year we've got to make a call on these blokes. Unfortunately, we gave them a year last year. They obviously made a big impact in that run that we had to the prelim, but you just can't have your body let you down that often.
Yeah, was there talk that some of the WA clubs were circling? Is that right?
Yeah, that's the rumors are both of them are looking at him.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Love
sense.
to use him in some sort of trade deal to get more picks. Like we trade whatever rounder for their better pick and throw in Jack Martin.
Yeah. Yep.
Highly likely. I mean, you can see that. I mean, I do know the talk is that if they do change it this year, Brisbane and Carlton are pushing for 4 years worth of picks. That's the only way they'll agree to it, because people misunderstand the rule, but everyone's got to agree to it. It's why Fremantle won't let us have a VFL state league, because they're the only team that refuses to do it because of their agreement with Peel. So you'd imagine that Brisbane, Carlton and Gold Coast will say, look, we'll agree to getting rid of the father-son rule if you give us 4 years of picks this year, which I think will make a really interesting trade period, which I think they've got to do because Tasmania come in now. So I think some teams could benefit from that before they come in. But Fremantle are interested. They've got pick 24. So I wonder if Carlton would look and go, if the new rules come into effect, the talk is it's going to be that the discount has to be within 500 of that actual pick.
Right.
So they've got 24 and 15 Fremantle.
Okay.
I wonder if that's something that Carlton say, we'll tell you what, we'll give you Jack Martin and a future first. Give us 15 and 24.
Maybe. Yeah, potentially. Interesting.
Could be an interesting one. Matt Carroll, we haven't seen him yet, so that would suggest to me we already sign him.
Yep.
He's a pending for me. He's someone that is like, if there's a list spot at the end of all our business, you get it. Otherwise, yeah.
Well, surely they didn't pick him up with the idea that we're going to get him and then just keep him on the list for a year. And there's no way known they expected him to play senior football this year.
No, and he's been injured as well, which hasn't helped him.
So why would they pick him?
We signed him injured as well.
Yeah, so why would they pick him? It has to be a keep, surely.
Yeah, keep.
Well, you see, that's why I was thinking we re-sign him, and that's why I was thinking maybe I've got a feeling Jack Carroll's done a Dow.
Nah, he's not quite there yet. I reckon one more year.
What I mean is there's a bit of trade value there. There is a way that you could manipulate a team into buying him.
Maybe, but I still think he's got more value if you keep him on the list rather than trade.
Because at the moment we're like prime Geelong, and we used to fall for it all the time. Yeah, but how do you get past Dangerfield? He's going to be a superstar. So I reckon teams look at Jack Carroll and go, how do you get past Cripps and Walsh? Jack Carroll could be a superstar, and then we giggle when you give us a second.
True.
Go, good one. Matty Owies, re-sign?
Please.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. Yep.
Would you agree, and I mean this with love, that I keep saying this on BA, that I think Matt Owies, I made this big call last year, someone has to replace him out of the best 22. If that happens, we win the flag. Because I think, and this is a credit to him, but I think he's just AFL average at everything. For a small forward, he's just the bog standard average small forward, but he's our best because he's average.
He's fit and he kicks goals.
Yeah. Like you watch Zach Williams, he's come in for 3 games and you see what happens when you have the je ne sais quoi.
You hope someone with a higher ceiling can overtake him, but his floor is so higher than everyone else's. It's that trade-off.
Sam Durden?
Gone.
10-year deal?
Gone.
See, this is where now have no key defensive stock, so you have to bring someone in.
Draft.
Yeah.
That is, but I don't think you can be a draft because if you get one injury, who comes in?
I think that the output you would get from a draftee key defender would almost be identical to what you get from Sam Durden.
Agree.
If not better.
Yeah, but
body-wise, they get killed.
To answer your question, though, have we got key defensive depth anyway? Because, like, these two here, like, honestly, like, there was people that walked through minefields in the Battle of Somme were more ready for action than these two.
What would a Granger Barras cost you as well at this point? Because he's an easy one for me.
He's one of the guys on my list. He's always fit. He's just not talented. That's a guy that I think we just bring in for like a
younger than Durden. He's younger than Sam Durden. Probably have the same impact if we needed to call on him. So for me, Sam Durden out. Denver Granger Barras in for a packet of chips too.
And I agree here. Peter makes a great point. Lewis Young, I think, is supreme as a key defender backup. Like, I think that's the best backup you can ever have.
He's our Rob Holding.
I can hear
Who's watching the stream?
I don't know.
Who can't hear the echo?
I can hear it.
Is there an echo? Is there?
I reckon it's Paul.
I don't know. Is it me?
It's you. Yeah.
Hold on. I'll come back in and go back out.
This reminds me of a real bad trip where I can hear what I'm saying after. Like I'm panicking now. I'm panicking now. But
no, I definitely agree on that we should be moving on from Sam Durden, but I just don't want it to be we get rid of him, get rid of Marchbank, and then we bring in one 18-year-old. If you're bringing in a Granger Barras, like just a Sam Durden replacement of a mature-ish body, then I'm solved.
Yeah.
No, but I think your backup there, look, like we'll quickly do it, but your backup here already would be Lewis Young in your reserves, right? And then let's go crazy. Look, you bring in Jack Whitlock, pick 8, 9, 10.
I just think my one caveat is Mitch McGovern has injury issues, so I would like some sort of backup.
No, but then you do this. Look, he hasn't got a role, right? So he's been you're training the entire year with the defensive group. Something like that, like get creative. Because we've got that many kind of forwards, one of them has to play back, haven't they? Here he is.
Is that better?
Who knows? Yeah, it's better.
It's usually my voice because my voice is claspy.
No, I don't know why that happened. Anyway,
who knows? But no, I think you could do it. But like John makes a good thing. You know, these shitty key defenders, like backups, they're 10 a penny. You can find millions. Like Denver Granger Barras, I'm glad Joe said it. He's one guy that I think he just can't get a game. See, you do a deal and go, look, worst case scenario, like Buslinger as well, just can't get a game. And
he'd be a great pickup.
Yeah.
And they're worried. And it's funny, they don't like him because defensively he's not very good. Intercept is too good. And that's why they're going Norton down the back. They just want a defender. We want intercept defenders to play key back.
Yeah.
So it probably suits us more than it suits them.
I'd love that.
Like
pickup.
ironically, they want Lewis Young. According to their coaches, they want Lewis Young, but they picked up more of a Mitch McGovern type player.
That's all right. We'll trade Bustlinger, Lewis Young.
But I do like Granger Barras. The problem I've got with Granger Barras is, do you know who his draft similarity was?
What?
You'll love it. It's Lewis Young.
Yeah, surely a bit more upside though than what we're saying from Young.
He definitely has. But I mean, hyphenated names though. You know how I feel. I'd have to stop making them jokes. But chat, we have come to the end of our show because I promised my wife I'd be done by bedtime at 8. She's put the kids to bed. She stood at the doorway twice and glared at me. So I'm for a good time. But before we go, Ian, what are you doing in the bye?
Yes, well, we have our mid-season sort of review episode, which we'll be recording, I think, on Sunday. So most likely it'll be out Monday over wherever you get your podcasts or on our own YouTube channel, Navy Blue Corner. And then we'll be back again on Wednesday night on Blue Abroad for the match build-up show, which will be very fun.
Fucking feels weird that we've got no football, doesn't it, actually?
Very strange.
I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Like, spent time with my family the other day. They seem like nice people.
The old Kerry O'Keefe joke. The old Kerry O'Keefe joke.
Do you know what I mean? There is the link. Go and subscribe. Say hello to him. Paul, you always have something. What the fuckery are you doing?
We have a massive night tomorrow night. We have the Jumper Punch stage show in Broadway. No, not America. In Reservoir.
Can they still get tickets for that?
Yeah, we've still got a few tickets that we're giving away. Some people were very kind enough to actually donate some tickets to some of the audience, listeners and viewers. So there's still some tickets available. So if you want to just email us at thejumperpunch@gmail.com, flick us an email or just contact me directly if you've got me on social media, by all means. We've got nearly 100 people coming tomorrow night, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. We're very, very excited for it. So, and then SEN got plenty of work coming up. Untitled Blues podcast. Nick will be back from Thailand in the next couple of days. So all will be well. And I'm just nursing a bit of a cold at the moment. I've got the works here, mate. Difflam, more sore throat spray. What else have I got? Bisolvin. So if you need drugs, let me know for the weekend. Just plenty of SEN track and SEN stuff next week. So it doesn't stop, Pommy and Ian and Joey, as you all know. It does not stop.
Is SEN covering the Euros?
We were initially, but I think they've decided otherwise, which is unfortunate. But the Premier League will be back soon. The Premier League's the real football, isn't it, Pommy? Let's be honest. These international tournaments are bobbins. I'm just, you know what I'm looking forward to.
I'll tell you that in a month.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to Manchester United and Chelsea forking out 70 million for some bloke who has 4 really good games at this tournament, and then absolutely carks it when he rocks up to the Premier League.
Yep.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I've already said this because there's some shit games on, and a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, no one's going to watch this game," and I'm like, unfortunately, the United scouts probably do when some Swiss left back bangs in 4 goals. Do you know what I mean? That you've never heard of, that you couldn't pick out in a fucking lineup. Can't wait to bring him to Man United.
Do you know what? It would be so Italian of the Italians to go deep into this tournament, because I don't think anyone's given them a hope in hell.
No.
I don't think
always a threat. Always a threat at a major championship. The Italians, you can't look past them.
Nah, they'll play 15 behind the ball, and Scamacca will probably go.
Mate, you can't look past them. You can't look past the Italians. Seasoned veterans of winning these things. Can't look past them. They'll be there. As much as I hate to say it, but Joe, what the hell are you doing?
What do we got? We've got our mid-season review show Sunday night, 7 p.m. live on Blue Abroad, which also includes our 4th annual 360 feedback session between the 3 of us. So,
oh god,
It's going to be good to tear shreds off each other for about half hour at the end of that show.
And one help someone.
Yeah, no, this is the first time I've done it in the studio and face to face for 3 years. So yeah, there could be some blood. We'll see. But yeah, that's it. That's it. Back into it Sunday night.
Got the
Yeah, the link is in there. When Terry can be bothered, he'll put the invitation for you on that link that's in there, so you can watch it. It's not there, but a very good show. Good chemistry between three lads. It's always a good thing. You'll see me in the comments. I like to heckle, so do that. I've got something on this week, and I can't remember what it is. Yeah, I do. I remember. So you got the Hot 20 draftees. If you are a member of this, that should go up tomorrow afternoon. So you've got some weekend viewing. We've got the Premiership DNA code coming up Sunday. Sunday night, we're going to be doing a little bit of a live Q&A. So everyone's welcome to that. We'll just have a bit of a chat. And then Monday, I've got Big Danny Azar from the fan cams is doing Pommy Ponders with me. So we're going to chat shit about other clubs.
Lovely.
In the review of the week while we've got no game on. So you can always be arrogant when you don't have to play. But aside from that, just the usual rubbish. We'll be back to normal picking the teams next week. But peace, love, and light.
Before we finish, that shirt right there hanging behind Brownie is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I haven't got one. I'm going to buy one. I haven't
There is one large left. So
the quality of that shirt is unbelievable. You guys have done a fantastic job. I just needed to call that.
Can we have a close up of it?
Oh, absolutely.
It is brilliant. The stitching,
that
embroidered on. Try and make that.
Do you know what that would be? Do you know what you should make? See that little logo there, the NCB. You should make that into a polo.
Yeah, mate. Potentially next year. Add it to the range.
I'm a polo man, mate. You know, I like to show off the guns every now and again with the tight.
Well, once these sell out, the polos will be straight onto the press. But if you want a polo, these are going to have to sell out first on the big cartel on our socials.
Yep.
There's not a lot left, so definitely get there quickly.
Mate. I know a few cartels.
Well, on that note, make sure you go and check out the Jumper Punch in Reservoir. Paul's going to be there, and because it's in Reservoir, he's just announced you all that he knows cartels and he'll deal with your drugs.
Correct.
So make of that clip what you will.
Yeah.
Much love, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back next week. See you.
Hey, Root.